Hello and welcome to another D&D Stories. I'm your host, TheWriter. This is the show where I sit here and regale you with all the tabletop gaming stories and remember when something cool happened. So we return once more to Ladd and Company, who have just de-ghosted a haunted hotel. They went through the Sunless Citadel and came out alive, and now things have finally had some time to settle down, because in a month, the Cheliax ball is happening, and what should arrive in the mail for Harmony but an invitation to said ball, especially after she broke the nose of one of the Cheliax women on the street and had to go to jail and pay a fine for it, and now she's being invited to their party. So as per usual, for this campaign, I hand out mail at the very start of the game, and Ladd gets a bill for this and is giving out pay to their new guild hall servants. They have a maid and a butler and a gardener. So it's like a couple of gold per day is outrageous pay for a civilian. So given how much they made cleaning out the evil from the haunted hotel, and Ladd getting little cases here and there over the course of a month to investigate, it's no problem to have a few extra hands around the place to do the laundry, to scrub the floors, to prepare the meals, etc., etc. And now that the guild hall is complete, his little troop can all stay in one place and not have to worry about staying in inns for the night or chatting up the local cathedral to give them lodgings or whatever it happens to be. And Harmony is part of the Silver Crusade, and Tail is as well. But it's kind of nice to have regular lodgings where, God isn't looking over your shoulder. You don't have to attend every 5-hour mass or whatever it happens to be. Wake up with the 7 o'clock cannon that goes off that brings all the young paladins and trainings out into the courtyards for PT. It's nice to have just like a civilian home, if you will. So Ladd and Tail and Harmony and Farspark are all staying in this little guild hall, again with the 3 servants. And we pass out mail. Harmony gets the invitation to the Cheliax ball, and it says, I'm sure it's from, let me see, Paracountess Zarta. I have here the Pathfinder Society Field Guide. So the Cheliax are one of 10 factions that can be found in Absalom. So it's not anything I made up. It's actually from a splat book. And it says, I heard, Paracountess Zarta says, I heard that such and such happened and you went to jail, and that was such an unfortunate incident, Lady Paladin Harmony. I'm sure it was just a misunderstanding. Seeing your lord and employer surrounded by so many Cheliax women all at the same time. Don't be jealous. I'm sure it was just a cultural misunderstanding. Why don't you come and bring some of your friends to the Cheliax ball that's coming next month? And you can kind of see that the Cheliax are just regular people. They just live different lives than you, and things like that. And while we're at it, here, enjoy this party favor. And attached to the letter is a deck of many things. And for those of you that don't know what a deck of many things is, imagine a tarot deck of 22 cards, and it's magical. So whenever you draw a card, it will bestow upon you an effect. And there are 11 good things and 11 bad things. So that's the chance you take. Anytime you pull a card, it could be good, it could be bad, but it will do something to you. And in the good column, we have things like instantly level up, or gain a random major magical item, get the deed to a tower that's in yonder forest over there, and all you have to do is go claim it. You get a bunch of loyal retainers that will carry your stuff and care for your horse and follow you everywhere you go, and they don't need to eat or poop or anything, and stuff like that. There's all kinds of good stuff that you can pull from these cards. Then in the bad column, you have just the opposite. You have lose all your worldly possessions. You get into a fight with the Grim Reaper, and he's like level 13, so you'll probably lose. Be randomly teleported 10 miles to the west, and you could end up inside a mountain, so it might be bad. Instantly lose a level. There's another card in there called the Void, and if you draw the Void, it sucks your soul out and you die. So there's a 4% chance in carrying around this deck of magic cards to just draw one card, oh, it's the Void, blah, and you die, and that's it. Harmony is not thrilled with this party favor because it's a double-edged sword, and there's always one player at every table that comes across the deck of many things and pulls like 8 fucking cards and gets all the good things, and then they pass it off, and then the next person pulls one card and it's the Void and they die. That's exactly what always happens, no matter how you shuffle it around. But Harmony is less than thrilled with this so-called party favor, and throws it out on the table in front of her party. Look what the Madame Cheliax sent us. Or excuse me, Paracountess Zarta. She pulls up the letter that got sent. She's inviting us to the Cheliax ball in a month, and I know what a deck of many things is. I'm no fool. And everybody else is like, well, you did shield check a fucker on the sidewalk, and you did try to tackle hug Tiberius, so maybe she does think you're a fool. He's like, shut up, I'm getting better, I'm level 4 now, I'm learning. She's basically on probation now. It's like God didn't take away her powers for assaulting somebody, but the Silver Crusade took a hit to its reputation for Harmony's shenanigans. And the Silver Crusade is actually also in this book, the Pathfinder Society Field Guide. So they're like the paladin, lawful good group. But just to kind of clarify the Cheliax, I'm going to read you an excerpt from this book. So this is what it has to say about the Cheliax. Establish order, no matter the cost. So they're I guess lawful evil. Let's see. The proud empire of Cheliax once spread across 2 continents, but fell to diabolical rule after 30 years of civil war following Eridan's death. Eridan is a god. Chelaxians believe their nation superior to others in the Inner Sea region and won't let something as simple as the death of their patron god prevent them from attaining their prophesied age of glory. So they're kind of like Nazis when you think about it. The ruling house, Thrun, and its allies rose to power amid the chaos and established order with the help of the armies of hell. They maintained control decades later with the same regimented organization of their infernal minions. Though Cheliax already controls the Arch of Eridan and thus the western entrance of the Inner Sea, Queen Abigail II's strategists know that control of Absalom is vital if Cheliax hopes to establish order throughout the region. They believe that victory is well within their grasp and that it will come on the backs of the weak. So they're kind of like hell Nazis, sort of. And Absalom's on an island, and it sits in the Inner Sea, like with a continent kind of cupping it. So they control that region where the open sea is people coming in towards, but they want Absalom because Absalom is the trading hub of that entire like hemisphere, basically. It would be like saying you controlled London or you controlled freaking, I don't know, that's the best one I can think of. A central hub of civilization and lots of money. So their nation has fallen, and they're scrambling to get back what once was theirs by hellish means. And then we have their leader, the leader of the Cheliax in Absalom, Paracountess Zarta, and we'll read about her. Paracountess Zarta Drowneen relishes her role in Absalom. She's always found the city rife with sins in the making and takes pleasure in what she regards as Golarian's largest cesspool of corruption. She uses her beauty and diabolical power in equal measure to corrupt the souls of her enemies. Zarta paints the veneer of a cultured aristocratic lady on her outside, especially when appearing an official Chelish business. But the promise of soul-blasting sin is an ever-present dance in her sultry eyes, and the orgies of excess she holds in her private villa are legendary affairs that most scorn with curses even as they secretly yearn for invitations. Despite her reputation as a strict taskmaster, Zarta's known hedonistic tendencies have fueled rumors that agents of House Thrun are unhappy with her performance, and that her famous lash may be turned against her if she can't generate real results in the struggle for control and influence in Absalom. What does it say? Yeah, she's lawful evil, female human aristocrat. Oh, she has 4 levels of aristocrat and 8 levels of bard. Oh, she's a bard. Cool. Yeah, and aristocrat I don't think is a class that players can take, but she's 12th level, and she is the leader of the Cheliax, and she wrote this letter to Harmony inviting her personally after the shenanigans that went on in that on that sidewalk. So, over the course of the month, while he's working on other cases and getting like small handfuls of gold, Lad does some research on the Cheliax, and given that there are 10 factions in Absalom, some more in line with the law than others. You know, there's 9 alignments and there's 10 factions, so you can probably guess they align themselves accordingly. But he is able to ask around about the Cheliax and learn pretty much all of what I just told you with a good gather information sort of check, or knowledge local, or whatever you want to call that. So he learns, you know, the Cheliax have their hands in demonic affairs, and they think this portion of the world belongs to them, and they are clawing tooth and nail to try and take over the place, or at least gain enough influence in Absalom that it falls back under, or it falls under Cheliax control once they regain their lost nation. So, Lad kind of starts to grasp exactly whom they are and why they shouldn't go near them. And the deck of many things, which Harmony again threw on the table, they decide that none of them are going to touch it. Because, you know, screw getting a magic item or a free level up or whatever, you know, the 4% chance of drawing the void is too much. So they don't pull any cards. I was like, gosh, really? You know, I've been in 5 or 6, you know, groups where people come across decks of many things, and people always pull a couple of cards. Come on. You're adventurers. Your chance of death is always greater than 4%. It's like eating puffer fish. You know, you have a 1 in 64 chance of eating the piece of the puffer fish that's poisonous. So, you know, eat one piece, at least so you know what it tastes like, and so you laugh in the face of death, 1 in 64 chance. But no, Harmony showed it to him. She complained very loudly, you know, how dare they send us this death-inducing magic item. And she went and she locked it in her room. And one of the other things that was in the mail that went to Lad was actually from an Absalonian carpentry guild, which wasn't one of the major 10 factions, but the people that built their guild hall said, hey, I'm going to send some carpenters to come and change out some of the wood that is made up in your guild hall, because we found out that there are antlion eggs in some of the floorboards that we put in your guild hall. So we're going to rip them up and change them out. No charge whatsoever. So, you know, if somebody's bedroom gets invaded, sorry, you know, we don't want antlions here in Absalom. We'll send an exterminator and 2 or 3 guys. They'll be done in a couple hours. So, you know, my original plan was that Harmony would pull at least one of the cards from the deck of many things, and the first card was stacked for storyline reasons. You can't actually stack a deck of many things, but shut up. That the first card would shrink the party down like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, like an inch or two tall. And then they would have to fight the antlion larva. But, Harmony didn't want to pull any cards. 4% chance of death was too much, so she locked it up. And, there went that, hour and a half of gameplay I had planned. So I go, okay, well, what else is going on? Tail went on to find that the skull of the Necrophidius was from a storm giant. So that's why it was so big and bulbous. And the jaw was from something else, like a sandworm, something that could open its mouth in several directions. So the whole thing, that whole construct, the Necrophidius, was just a nightmare of different monsters all put together. Even the poison sac was probably from some other creature elsewhere. But it was built expertly, and it was built to last. And Lad is sharing the information that he learned about the Cheliax, and he's like, well, if any faction, if any guild here in Absalom has, necromancers in it, it's probably going to be them, because necromancy, despite being evil, is a discipline. So lawful evil is the most likely alignment for an expert corpse builder, if you will, because it's like medicine. It's like healing people, building new bodies that do other stuff with the parts of other bodies. It's a science. You have to go to school for shit like that, or at least take courses with a greater master. So Tail goes, well, we're still looking into the origins of the Necrophidius and why it was there. And they go, okay, well, that gives Tail a reason to go. What about the rest of us? Well, Harmony was invited in particular, and if she doesn't show up, something might happen. So if she gets a public tongue lashing, that's, fine. And Farspark's well, I better go with Tail in case they run into the necromancer there at the Cheliax ball. And then Lad goes, well, according to all my research, X, Y, and Z could be possible. The Cheliax, though, there in Absalom have an embassy. So the problem is, though they don't have a nation anymore, the embassy is still considered Cheliax soil. So they could have necromancers running all over the place, and they couldn't get arrested. But the moment they set foot outside the embassy, then they can jump the guy. So, or girl, or whatever it happens to be. They're stringing these things together by the loosest of strings, but it does make sense. So finally they decide, okay, we'll actually go to the Cheliax ball. They were considering not going for a while, and that would have just canceled the game entirely. It's do you want to play D&D or not? Come on. You don't want to pull from the deck of many things. And so, I didn't tell them about fighting the antlions or anything. So 2 plans kind of went down the drain with them not playing with the magic item I gave them. But whatever. They want to play it safe, they can. And they find out that this is going to be a big fancy aristocratic affair. That lords and ladies from several different factions all across Absalom, from aristocratic families, from lords and ladies, merchant lords, and they go, merchant lords, like Lord Tiberius? And I go, yes, Lord Tiberius would fit that category, but as you've seen before, he is elected not to go because he doesn't want to be associated with the Cheliax. But so soon as he is mentioned, there is a knock at the door, and who's there? Lord Tiberius Tygar, the man with the head of a tiger. And they go, Lord Tiberius, it's good to see you again. It's been weeks. And he goes, yes, I'm very grateful about all of your help at the hotel. Bino has arrived from Franz, as I told you, and is helping with the efforts to clean the place up and kind of personalize it for himself. I have left the reins to him. However, the Cheliax continue to try and woo me to come to their ball, and frankly, I may not have much choice at this point, because once they learn that my son is in town and is of age, they might try to seduce him over to the dark side, if you'll pardon the phrasing. So I have decided to go before they decide to ask my son instead. And they go, well, what do you expect to happen? And Tiberius says, well, the Cheliax are known for trying to make friends, or at least allies, with the rich and powerful, and I am rich and powerful at the end of the day. Not bragging, I just am. But they do not know that, once Bino is done running this hotel, that he is going to gain the reins to the empire. So if they make any diplomatic ties with me, they won't be looking at my son, and he won't get involved with these shady people. So I will be going undercover to ally myself with the Cheliax. And they go, really? You're just going to throw yourself into the lion's den? And he goes, I'm a tiger. I can walk among lions if I damn well please. And they go, ooh, damn, that's a good line. I have to write that down. That's a good line. But he goes, I want the four of you to come. I have this invitation. And Harmony goes, I have an invitation too. And he goes, really? And he goes, yes, they remember me from when I shield bashed a fucker in front of you and Mumble went to jail. And he goes, oh yes, that's right. I remember that now. Well, all the better then. I can bring 2 +1s and you can bring 2 +1s. Or you can bring 1 +1 rather, and that will bring all 4 of you in under my wing. And they go, okay, well, what would we do while we were there? And I said, well, you can just kind of case the place. See what the Cheliax are all about. They're going to try and seduce me into their fold because of my riches and power throughout the continent. You remember, enchanting shops and such. Quite a bit of money flows through my household. They want influence over me. And as long as I can keep Bino out from under their sights, I will be happy. So while they are busy talking to me and such, why don't you check out the Cheliax and see exactly who and what they are? And Lad kind of steps forward and says, we were just thinking about how convenient the Necrophidius was in the hotel, and the Cheliax are the ones that are known for making deals with devils and have allies in hell and stuff. So powerful necromancy might not be out of the question here. And Tiberius goes, I understand. Well, if you can find out who made the Necrophidius, all the better. We can at least put a face to it if something else should ever show up. And they start to put 2 and 2 together, like, Mr. Tumnus was killed by the Necrophidius. If the Necrophidius belonged to the Cheliax, then that means that the Cheliax probably tried to, seduce him into their fold. And when he said no, probably because of his daughter Elizabeth, they killed him. And they killed all of his servants and killed everybody else. And that attracted the Mothman, which set off that whole chain of events. So all the nonsense that happened in the haunted hotel excursion was probably because the Cheliax took out Mr. Tumnus for resisting them, if you will. And remember, it's, achieve your goals no matter the cost, lawful evil. The ends justify the means regardless of what they may be. And Mr. Tumnus said no, so they freaking took him out. And everybody around him suffered. So Tiberius is gonna go play nice with the Cheliax in order to keep Bino out of it, while our heroes run around and snoop, if you will. So our heroes get ready to go to the ball, and they realize, this is not going to be like a combat-oriented game, so they can't go to this party in, their armor, and Harmony can't carry Shatterspike on her hip while she's wandering around in a ball gown, and, Lad has to go and get, a nice set of dress leathers, and Farspark needs to find, a sparkly court wizards sort of thing with a pointy hat, so people know exactly what he is. He's a wizard, damn it, and he's all dressed up. But yeah, he pulled out the stars and moons with dark blue outfit for that, and they go shopping. So they literally like get their hair done, manicures, pedicures. They buy fancy clothes. Harmony got a nice like daffodil yellow dress. Like I said, Lad was in the nice leathers. Farspark had the sparkly wizard's outfit, and Tail just kind of wore his priestly robes, if you will. He's a man of the church. He doesn't need to spend tons of money on clothes, but he did wear his golden holy symbol that Nadal gave to him way back at the Sunless Citadel. So our heroes get all dressed up for the ball, or the gala, or whatever you want to call it, and the night is upon us. And they ride, they rent a chariot, they do everything like that, they set up, and they enter this place, and the Cheliax embassy is almost like a fortress. There's a high wall with spikes, there's gargoyles leaning over them, and the heads turn as chariots go through, looking for anybody that might try to sneak weapons in. There's guys in like red and black armor called Hell Knights, standing in every corner in case anything should go wrong. I mean, it's an embassy. There's pretty heavy security. You know, this country doesn't exist anymore, but this tiny spit of property is still Chelaxian. So it's lost in the paperwork somewhere that they didn't close this embassy when the Cheliax nation fell. So Paracountess Zarta holds on to this place with an iron fucking fist and isn't scared to grease a few palms come tax season every year to make sure it stays Chelaxian. So, watch your backs, dear heroes. You never know what's going to go on here. But their chariot pulls in. Tiberius is not with them. He's going to arrive in his own time. And they go inside, and it is, of course, deep scarlets, gold filigree. The Cheliax's symbol is basically a red, like, crosshairs, almost. It looks like a, well, here, I'll show it to you if you want to unminimize me. You can see there next to Paracountess Zarta, that's the Chelaxian symbol. It looks like a gun sight to me, but, which is fitting given how they act, but they see pennants and banners all over the place, and there's an orchestra in the corner of this grand ballroom, and there's a bar to one side, and there's sitting tables, and there's a big dance floor with people turning fancy ladies round in their big wide ball gowns. And the Chelaxian women are very easy to spot because they all wear the same, like, scarlet, backless, like Jessica Rabbit, show off the boobs, show off the bare shoulders kind of dress. And, you kind of see them going through the crowd, talking to people, running their hands across the shoulders of any man who stands there by himself, chatting up anybody who might be important and or rich and or powerful, because it's always nice to make friends with the Cheliax, for they'll always look out for you, especially if you look out for them. So it is a night to forge alliances, and the Cheliax are not shy about this. So the more people they can pull into the Cheliax fold, the more power, the more money, the more influence they happen to have in Absalom. Now, the other 9 guilds, the Silver Crusade and all the rest, constantly work against this by their own activities, whether religion or charity or any of the other things. There's a Traders Guild. There's a Freedom and Democracy for All Guild. There's a Hunters Guild. Yeah, there's so many factions running around in Absalom. It's hard to keep track of them all. But the Cheliax are trying to get their fingers into everybody else's business and squeeze the blood and money out of everything. So 'tis a night to try and make friends and, try and hide your fangs at the same time. But our heroes wander about the ballroom in all different directions, just because, it's a ball, let's go mingle for a bit. Tiberius will be here at one point or another, and we'll reconvene then. So let's split up, gang. They're not going to stab us in the back in the middle of a party. So Harmony is, of course, a little bit nervous. And she runs into the lady whose nose she broke with her shield. He's like, oh, God, I'm so sorry. I had no idea. That was so childish. I have healing magic. You're a little, you're a little crooked still. I'm a level 4 or 4th season paladin now. I could heal that. She's like, no, that's okay. You've certainly done enough. Please enjoy the party. And she kind of picks up her skirts and runs, because this crazy woman ran across the street and shield bashed a fucker for talking to somebody. No, she doesn't want to stand near you. But quite a few of the Cheliax know that she's there now, so they've at least got her description, or somebody drew her picture and passed it around. So she's getting more than a couple of sideways glances as she wades through the crowd. And Tail, our halfling cleric, wanders over to the bar. He is a man of the church, but he's not here for frou-frou dancing and any of that kind of stuff. So he wanders up to the bar to chat some people up, see if he can't learn anything. And who should wander up next to him and put an arm around him but a female minotaur from the southern Crimson Mountains. And he looks up at this woman. Oh! I was like, her boobs are bigger than your freaking head. She's that much bigger than you. And she thinks you're adorable. He's like, hello, little halfling man. Would you like to dance with me? And it's like, she's probably like a gladiator or something similar. She was an influential figure in the Colosseum, and the Cheliax honored her by offering her a spot at this ball. She's got like a velvet loincloth and a chainmail bra, and one sneeze and the girls would fly out. But she did put a bow in her hair, so she's trying very hard. So Tail's like, sure, yeah. And they chat for a while, and then they go out on the dance floor, a halfling and a minotaur. So she has to bend like all the way over and hold his hands like on her pointer fingers with her thumbs and like rock back and forth. It's adorable. And I go, okay, give me like a dexterity check or something. Nobody has ballroom dancing skills, but give me like a dexterity check or a charisma check, rather. Your dancing is all about your presence on the dance floor. He rolls it. It's like a 17. I was like, all right, give me a D20, and he rolls it out. And I was like, okay, that times 10. We'll give you that much XP for dancing as best you can with somebody 2 size categories higher than you. Before long, she takes you back to the bar for a couple of drinks and some fairly innocent flirting. And that's kind of where your situation leads for now. And Lad wanders around doing the regular PI thing. He checks out the Hell Knights. He looks at the potted plants for anything unusual. He checks behind a bunch of the curtains looking for secret passageways. He sees if he can recognize any of the lords and ladies are from around here. I said, yeah, Lad, most of them from like different mercantile places, the leaders of trade companies, people that run the docks who have a lot of ships. There's a lot of really important people when it comes to trade, to money, to power. There's a few minor officials here. You might see a member of the Council of Absalom here, the main governing body. Quite a few bigwigs and quite a bit of money dancing around in this room, and Lad's like, yeah, this is what they're doing. They're throwing this ball to see if they can't cast their nets and see if anybody gets pulled in to the influential sphere of the Cheliax. And he's like, yeah, that's exactly what's going on. Then Farspark wanders off, and Farspark goes to kind of a big alcove. It's like the base of a princess tower. It's a like a half circle shaped area off to one side of the ballroom, where a court magician is entertaining a big group of giggling Cheliax women and a few of the civilian lords and ladies at the same time. He's cloaked all in black, and he's pale, and he's bald, and he's got little glasses, and he's got this big table in front of him, and he's got this big armload of chicken bones, and he's got them spread out on the table, and he's got his arm around his beautiful assistant, and his hand is like down in her dress, squeezing one of her boobs, and the other one is doing this little dance while he mumbles, obscene necromantic words, and the bones are getting up in random assortments of shapes and like making little figures that dance about for the amusement of whoever looks on. And Farspark's like, he's just flagrantly using necromancy here. It's like, yeah, you're standing in an embassy. He's got diplomatic immunity here. So he's Cheliax. So long as he's in this embassy, he can do whatever he wants in terms of necromancy, because the Cheliax are aligned with the forces of hell. So it's, if a guard wandered in off the street, he couldn't really do anything, because this plot of land does not belong to Absalom. So Farspark looks on for a while, and he looks at the beautiful assistant, and he looks at all the lords and the ladies watching, and he's like, I'm gonna challenge him to a magic off. And I go, a magic off? And I go, yeah, he's like the court magician, right? He's entertaining people. I know prestidigitation and dancing lights and the knock spell and all stuff like that. I'm going to challenge him to a magic off to entertain the masses. And I go, okay, you go for it, I guess. So Farspark goes up there. He's like launching little lights and fireworks from his fingertips with prestidigitation. He's got dancing lights flying around in little circles. The audience, ooh. And the necromancer's like, oh, a challenger, I see. And he's into it at first. And he makes like a bone dancer do backflips and then play tennis with another series of bones. And then Farspark, brings up an aurora borealis that draws lots of eyes towards the ceiling. And the necromancer starts to get outdone by all the pretty lights and sounds that Farspark can make. And he starts to like glare and he's stealing my audience. And I go, all right, Farspark, roll me a d20 times 10. That'll be your XP for out magicking the court magician. Well done. Well done. And all the while, Harmony is wandering the crowd looking for Madame Cheliax, or Paracountess Zarta, if you will. And after a while, Paracountess Zarta arrives on the scene. This big pair of double doors opens. The Hell Knights all like bow to her as she passes. She's got this little entourage of like manservants behind her holding the big trays of wine and fruits and stuff to disperse through the crowd. They've got the crystalline glasses with blood red wine and little cherries thrown in and stuff like that. And of course she's this gorgeous, gorgeous woman, like, pale as the moon and freaking just really dark black hair, eyeshadow, the scarlet makeup, the boobs any man would die for, and this gorgeous like backless dress, much like the other Cheliax women, except hers is a darker shade of red so that she stands out from the others, but she's still associated with them, and she's got like a tattoo of the Cheliax symbol on her back. And she moves with such grace that her skirts do not move as she walks. So it gives the illusion that she is gliding along the floor rather than taking steps. And Harmony watches this woman kind of enter the room, and Paracountess Zarta almost seems to feel Harmony staring at her from the crowd. And Harmony is in fact wearing, a bright yellow dress, so it's not hard to see her in the sea of red. So Zarta turns to come and talk with Harmony for a bit. And, based on the descriptions, oh, you must be Harmony from the Silver Crusade. And she goes, I am. You must be You must be Paracountess Zarta. Thank you for inviting me. I'm so sorry for what happened about a month ago. There was a misunderstanding on the sidewalk. I just, and Harmony falls all over herself because she knows this is a faction leader, an evil faction leader, and she's in her house now. So, bad things can happen, and there's not a lot anybody could really do about it. So they exchange nervous pleasantries for a while. And Zarta goes, well, since you're here and you are here to learn about the Cheliax way, the Cheliax culture, our nation might be gone, but much of her history still remains here in the embassy. Many artifacts, weapons, armors, even men are saved from the sands of time here at the embassy. I invite you, I implore you, please stop to appreciate our culture. Take a tour with a pair of my Hell Knights. In fact, we have a lovely armory. I was told that the sword on your hip out on the streets is somewhat unusual. The shatter spike, if you will. It's an unusual sword design. And she goes, how did you know about that? And she goes, well, many of the Cheliax women take up the arts. So when I asked them to draw a picture of the one who had assaulted them, it of course included the weapons and armors you were wearing, and the unusual shape of your sword told me that it was a shatter spike. And those are quite rare and valuable, so please make sure you hang on to that, even if you find something better. And Harmony's kind of like just nervously looking around, like anybody here could draw her picture, put it on a wanted poster, and then stick it somewhere. So they have a very specific set of skills, and it's starting to freak her out. And Harmony goes, well, sure, I'd love to take a tour. Me and my 3 friends. Lad, where are you? And Lad, of course, melts in out of the crowd, and so does Farspark, and so does Tail, who has to leave his flirty Minotaur behind. And just imagine the scene that would have made later on, but we'll get to that. Our party reconvenes in front of Paracountess Zarta, and it goes, yes, of course. Please take a tour, see all of the exotic armors and ancient weapons that we keep in our museum wing. The embassy is a sort of time capsule to the Cheliax ways. And she snaps her fingers, and a pair of Hell Knights come to flank our heroes. Just in time for Lord Tiberius to come in out of the crowd. And the crowd parts for him, of course, because he's kind of scary. He has the head of a tiger. And Paracountess Zarta is visibly caught off guard for but a moment before she recognizes him. Lord Tiberius Tigar. And of course Tiberius, puts the hand on his shoulder, bends forward politely. Paracountess Zarta, I've heard such things about you. All good, I hope. All interesting. Well, I'm flattered. Not every girl makes a Tigar Lord's bedside table. And he kind of smiles, and Harmony looks back and forth between them, like, are they flirting or what? And he goes, I apologize for turning down your agents up until now. I had no idea such a culture as yours was so inclusive. I am somewhat unusual, so I am very honored that you would show interest in me. And, Zarta kind of smiles, and you kind of get the feeling, at least physically, both of them kind of like what they see, because Tiger has lain with a god, basically, and it wouldn't be surprising to find out that Zarta has had some demon cock in the past, so they both enjoy their fangs, and they both enjoy their exotic lovers, and so it's kind of lust at first sight, if you will. And, Tygar is there under his own plans, as we already know. But Paracountess Zarta sees him, knows who he is, and wants to reel him in right away. So she turns on the feminine wiles and charm. She is, even in her description in the Society Field Guide, she is not above using her feminine wiles to get what she wants. So Tiberius kind of like snaps his fingers, and of course a servant comes running. He leans and whispers something, and that servant runs to the orchestra in the corner orchestra to tell them to start a certain song. And he offers out one of his great big hands, and he goes, "May I have this dance?" And she goes, "Oh, so forward." And she takes his hand, and he like glides with her out onto the dance floor. And Harmony like looks over at Taylor and is like, he's flirting, flirterer, shut up. He's taken her eyes off of us. That's better. So Lord Tiberius Tygar and Paracountess Zarta end up on the dance floor together as the main theme of Carmen starts playing. And one of the people at my table goes, "What's Carmen?" And I go, "Carmen? You know what Carmen is?" And he goes, "No." And I go, "Carmen, da-da-da-da, da-da. It's an Italian play, a tragedy. It has a song that kind of goes like this." And he goes, "Oh yeah, I know that one." And I go, "Yes, of course you do. Everybody knows the tune of Carmen. There are 3 plays you need to see before you die: Romeo and Juliet, freaking Lion King on Broadway, and Carmen. Okay, go see, tonight after this game session is over, get on YouTube and watch Carmen. It's not hard." You uncultured swine. So, while the main theme of Carmen plays, Lord Tiberius Tygar and Paracountess Zarta share an energetic and rather sensual dance on the dance floor. And of course, other couples come and join in, various Cheliax women, lords and ladies, and the dance floor rapidly fills as the leader of the Cheliax has chosen her dance partner and leads the others. So the quick flint and fire starts between these two. Both have hidden agendas, but both of them, at least physically, are enjoying themselves. And Harmony's like, okay, well, while Paracountess Zarta isn't like piercing my mind with her mind powers or whatever she's actually doing, because God knows she could probably do that, why don't we go and take this tour? So Lad, Harmony, Farspark, and Tail, flanked by the 2 Hell Knights, go off towards the museum portion of the Cheliax embassy, and they see these ancient sets of armor, these glowing swords that haven't seen the pure light of day in hundreds of years, that are kept under glass, and they see scary war masks that are supposed to look like demons. They see shields with faces like lions that if you wore it on your arm and you thrust it forward, the lion would come to life and bite somebody for you. And it's mostly weapons, lots of weapons and armor. And they have like the journal of such and such explorer. They have the spyglass of this person who claimed the inner sea for the Cheliax during such and such era. And they have this bottle of wine from this, and the eyeglass of this person, and all these unholy artifacts that not ought to be anywhere near decent people. So all of Harmony's like, evil magic, you must destroy it. All of her red flags go off, but she's in a gown and she's unarmed. So the two guys in plate mail following them around are more than a match for our 4th level heroes with none of their gear. So, and I give them plenty of opportunity, I do, to kind of wander off the tour, because a few other people join them, and they're all too eager to ask questions about, what is this? When is this from? And of course the Hell Knights know exactly what everything is. They live here, so they get long lectures about this, and they talk about that tapestry, and, there's plenty of corners and places to go, but our heroes don't leave the tour group, so nothing happened. Meanwhile, Lord Tiberius Tygar and Lady Cheliax, or the Lady Zarta, sorry. She's got so many titles and names, I get them mixed up. So, Paracountess Zarta share quite a few dances, a couple of drinks, and plenty of social time. And as we recall, Tiberius is there to make sure that Zarta's eyes do not fall on his son. So he's going to take one for the team here and at least pretend to be interested in the Cheliax. And Madame Cheliax is going to make sure she casts her net as wide as she can over him so that he does not escape. So the two of them end up in bed together that evening. And when it comes to the rich and powerful, it's all too interesting to see when one overpowers the other. So Madame Cheliax ends up shedding that dress while Lord Tiberius holds her down for some really rough sex, just for the evening. Like, 2 doors down, you would hear this woman squealing. And, Tiberius's wife, Natishka, is in another dimension, never to return, so it's been a while. And they share everything that night for quite some time. And Zarta is sure that Tiberius is under her thrall now, and Tiberius is sure that Bino is out of danger now. So there's there's going to be a lot of sex, probably a lot of money changing hands, but Bino is still the goal. So Tiberius is going to play the lusty, easily seduced lord and get some poon along the way, because hey, why not? And Paracountess Zarta thinks she has him under her wing now. So it's getting kind of Game of Thronesy in there while our heroes are on tour. And from there, the night kind of ends. Tiberius ends up with Zarta for the night, and our heroes go back, having learned quite a bit about how the Cheliax function, about how they treat necromancy, unholy magics, their deals with demons and devils, and especially contract devils, and how to deal with them, because you can basically get wishes granted with contract devils, and how they deal with entities like that, and just what sort of faction they are. They learn quite a bit. Meanwhile, Tiberius is too busy plowing their leader, so, why not? He is a man, he has red blood, so he's making a power play for his son. So long as Bino is not on the Cheliax radar, everything should be okay. Should be. Unfortunately, I have to go ahead and tell you, that is kind of where that adventuring party stopped. The story went on, don't worry, with different people, but from Tiberius's perspective, Lad had served his purpose, having cleaned out the hotel. Harmony was always following Tail around. Tail had fulfilled his purpose at the Sunless Citadel, retrieving holy artifacts. Farspark was a wild card and could just as easily wander off, but the 4 of them had that guild there and could go on adventures whenever they pleased, however they pleased. But unfortunately, this slice of life sort of game just kind of fell apart because they didn't get to fight anything. They didn't want to try the deck of many things. They didn't get any loot. They didn't get any treasure. They didn't get to kill anything. They were so bored. The whole thing, they wanted to dungeon crawl and kill stuff, and politics and intrigue was not on their list of things. And, this particular combination of people were all about, the video game. They have to kill something. They have to be disabling traps and running through cursed halls and things like that. The aristocratic bit was not their bag, and they were just kind of done. So Lad and company retired to a philanthropic, healthy, adventuring lifestyle. They formed their own little 4 or 5 person guild there. They may have hooked up with David again one day, but their part in this play is over. And we will pick up next time with the next portion of this story involving Tiberius, the Cheliax, and Beano. So our overarching story will continue, but these adventurers are being retired. So next time we will bring in a new trio of adventurers back at the hotel as it's being restored. So this story will go on in a greater arc. So I hope you guys had fun this time. This was just kind of a slice of life story. They were so careful. They didn't want the deck of many things. They didn't get to fight the antlion larva. They didn't leave the tour group. They didn't poke around. They didn't attack anybody. You know, I had like 7 things set up and they walked around all of it. So it just ended up being a slice of life game and they hated it. So they went on to play other stuff. So kind of a failure, but it still serves as like an in-betweener chapter for this portion of D&D Stories. Keep gaming. Hey guys, thanks for watching. I really love telling D&D stories, and I also really love eating food. So if you'd like to toss a couple of gold pieces into this humble bard's hat, be sure to check out my Patreon. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to hit the like button as well. And if you'd like access to maps, character art, and channel updates too, check out the D&D Stories Facebook. Keep gaming!